introducing the latest light novels released in mid-December. So this time, I'll be introducing the new books that is on sale until December 14. What kind of light novels will be released in the lineup? Which new light novels are recommended? I'll be picking out some favorites and giving you a detailed overview. Hopefully, this will help you decide on your next purchase. Let's dive right in. First, let's start with the novels on sale on the 10th and the 14th of December. First up, we have the releases from Dengeki Bunko on December 10th. The spotlight title here is doubly the Irregular at Magic High School, the Magen Company, Volume 9. This installment continues the story after the characters graduate from Magic High School. As the series progresses, the storylines have become more global, with many settings taking place overseas. The protagonist Tatsuya continues to shine amidst the political maneuverings and various faction activities. One of the key highlights of this volume is the complex political landscape, where Tatsuya faces numerous challenges. The latest volume delves into the Yotsuba succession plan, which involves the entire Japanese political scene, promising an intriguing and tense storyline. So the series can look forward to the upcoming anime movie adaptation of the Yotsuba succession arc. This announcement has certainly raised expectations, and we are eagerly waiting for more details about the release date. Next, we have a certain magical index Apocrypha library, the third volume. This release commemorates the 20th anniversary of Kazuma Kawachi Sensei's debut. The third installment compiles with special novels, including the Biohacker arc, which recounts an incident from when the protagonist Kamijo was in his third year of middle school. This volume contains 2 medium-length stories and spans around 852 pages, promising substantial content. It appears to be quite thick, so fans of Toaru series should definitely not miss this. Next, we have Volume 12 of The Many Sides of Voice Actors Radio. This series is one of the hottest in the voice actor entertainment genre. The anime adaptation aired this year, and personally, I thought it was a really well done. How do you all find it? The beginning had some controversial topics, making it quite intense, but from the middle onwards, it settled into a classic voice actor story. For those who enjoyed the series, it's a series you can't go wrong with. Recently, the popularity of YouTuber light novels had been slightly overshadowed by voice actor themed ones, but this series has been holding its ground. In the latest volume, the story takes on the biggest dream of the series, with the characters aiming for a voice actor audition for their beloved anime, promising an intense and exciting development. The storyline seems to be heating up quite a bit. Next up, we have Volume 10 of Can a Boy-Girl Friendship Hold Up? No, It Can't. This youth light novel explores the delicate balance between friendship, romance, and future dreams. With this release, it has reached double digits in volume count, and an anime adaptation has already been decided, making this series a look forward to. Moreover, the cover features the protagonist and a friend character is quite bold for a dramatic comedy light novel. It seems like this volume will spotlight the friend character quite a bit. Next up, we have Agents of the Four Seasons Archer in the Twilight. This is a notable title, being the 8th volume in the Agents of the Four Seasons series. The series is penned by Kana Akatsuki, the author of Violet Evergarden, and is a modern Japanese fantasy. The series has surpassed over 750,000 copies in circulation, making it a significant hit among the Dengeki Bunko's recent releases. As of late, fans of the series has been actively supporting it. The story follows 4 divine beings and their partners who overcome various challenges. The latest volume, subtitled Archer in the Twilight, focuses on a new issue centered around a divine being who brings night to the world. Additionally, the latest volume of the manga adaptation and original novel by Kana Akatsuki are also being released simultaneously. Fans of the series should definitely check this out as well. Next up is Volume 3 of Do You Think You Could Live Normally Even in the World with a 1.5 male to female ratio? This latest installment of the university rom-com takes place in a parallel world where the female to male ratio is skewed. The protagonist, who is kind and handsome, becomes extremely popular in this world with altered social norms. He unintentionally wins the hearts of many women, creating a thrilling story filled with tension as more and more landmines are set up throughout his interactions. The latest volume hints at these tensions reaching at a breaking point soon. Next, we have Volume 3 of Can You Become a Heroine Even If You Are My Teacher? This school romance starts when the protagonist, a male student, ends up living next door to his beautiful teacher. One of the story's main attractions is how the protagonist aggressively pursues the heroine, with the dynamic of pampering an older heroine creating an appealing contrast. The latest volume includes the classic cultural festival episode, and it promises to bring a definitive answer to their relationship. The next up is Volume 2. After saving the Ice Princess, we started as friends. This is a noteworthy title that started this year. The first volume had a very high level of completion and ranked high in the personal rankings for the first half of the year. The story is simple. The protagonist saves a heroine who is so beautiful that she distances herself from others due to trouble, which bring them closer together, creating a tantalizing pure love story. Initially, the heroine is cool, but she gradually falls deeply in love with the protagonist, making the content highly satisfying. The latest volume set in the Christmas season, which starts with a big event right away. There are also episodes involving the family, so I'm excited to see what kind of pure love will unfold. Next up is Volume 1 of The Elf Named Watanabe. This latest work by Satoshi Wagahara, known for The Devil is a Part-Timer series, features an elf girl living as a high school student in modern Japan. The story spans both the other world and Japan, creating a contemporary fantasy setting. Given the title, I initially thought it would be a slice of life story, but the synopsis suggests a grand spectacle revolving the other world around of the elf girl. It might turn out to be a much larger narrative than expected. Next up is Volume 1 of Galactic Wandering Duo. This title won the grand prize in the 9th Kakuyomu web novel contest. The story begins with the protagonist being falsely accused and exiled from Earth, ending up imprisoned in space. However, with the extinction of human race on Earth, the protagonist's sentence is ended, marking the start of a peculiar journey. As the last human alive, the protagonist embarks on a grand-scale journey through space, promising an expansive and adventurous storyline. Next up is Volume 1 of The Strongest Villain Ghost. The story revolves around a protagonist who reincarnates as a villainous duke in a VR MMORPG. In this scenario-altering fantasy, the protagonist aims to become the strongest villain. He adopts an egotistic approach, using both heroines and the final boss to enhance his own power. Next up is Volume 1 of Eating Meals with a Beautiful Sales Colleague. This new workplace rom-com follows the story of a protagonist who regularly eats meals with his beautiful colleague, who is also his classmate from high school and is now his peers at work. This illustration by Tosaku Sensei are a perfect match for this series. This series promises to be an office love story that anyone who enjoys workplace romance will find captivating. That concludes the lineup from Dengeki Bunko. Moving on, let's look at the releases from trade novels on December 10. The lineup includes Volume 2 of It Seems That I Have Reincarnated as a Second of a Poor Baronial Family. Next, we have The Daughter of a Monster User, The Girl with Green Eyes, Volume 1, a notable title. This series won the grand prize at the Dreamcom Novel Awards, with illustrations by Shirabi. The story features a journey-based witch hunting adventurer. The heroine has the ability to command monsters, and the protagonist serves as her protector. They become involved in various monster-related incidents, which also touch upon underlying human issues. It will be interesting to see what kind of journey unfolds. That concludes the lineup from Dre Novels. Next up, we have the releases from Tapkara Books on December 10. First up is the Death March to the Parallel World Rhapsody Extra Volume 3. This latest installment, part of a 2-month consecutive release, is a short story collection. It includes the gourmet handbook of dishes from the protagonist Sato has enjoyed during his travels, a special bonus story commemorating the 10th anniversary, and an original story exceeding 200 pages. The production of the Deathmatch anime has also been confirmed, and it seems to be getting momentum. Next is Volume 9 of Isekai Walking and Volume 5 of The Magic Sword Making Life of a Swordsmith from Another World, Volume 5. In this fantasy series, the protagonist, a swordsmith, creates a magical sword that changes the lives of various people. This series is captivating as a crafting fantasy and also offers compelling human drama. In the latest volume, it seems that a fiery demon attacks a village and a magical sword must be created to counter it. Next, we have The Wizard's Moving Company Volume 2. This series has its release delayed, but the latest volume is finally out. I personally consider this to be one of the best new fantasy light novels of the past few years, so I'm glad the continuation is available. As the title suggests, the story features a wizard girl who works as a mover, which is a unique and interesting setup. The first volume depicted moves involving a dragon, the relocation of a magical library, and a hero with a happy past, all presented in a fantasy context, making it a fascinating read. The theme of moving serves as a catalyst for significant life changes for various characters. The first volume had me in attention, so I'm excited to see how the latest installment unfolds. In the latest volume, the story involving a moving dungeon researcher and a girl who lives in a floating castle, so it will be interesting to see what kind of encounters and farewells are portrayed. I highly recommend this series to anyone who hasn't read it yet. Next up is Volume 2 of Far East Salvation Legends. This is another notable title. In this series, humanity battles against demons and demonic races using humanoid weapons, creating a robot fantasy. The story diverges into history around World War II, forming a parallel world. It's reminiscent of games like Love Alternative. The protagonist retains memories from another world and uses them to plot pilot a prototype machine that no one else could activate, making his way through the battlefield. The main machine has a stylish design with 4 legs, which is quite sleek. Although the story setting is serious, the protagonist's light-hearted demeanor and frequent invincible moments making it an enjoyable read. The latest volume is the Far East Russia Rescue Arc, which seems to be set around Hokkaido. New types of machines are also expected to appear, adding to the excitement. Fans of robot war fantasies should definitely check out this work. Next up is Volume 2 of My Life Reset Plan and Volume 1 of Swordmaster Celery Muso. This series set in a modern-day Japan, where samurai with special abilities maintain law and order. The story involving around a ordinary salaryman who has been hiding his abilities and becomes an unmatched battle hero using the strongest sword techniques. This hidden identity and his exploits creates an exciting narrative. Additionally, we have Volume 1 of After Being Stranded on the Island for 10 Years, I'm Apparently a Legend. This battle fantasy features a protagonist who is a former swordsmanship instructor stranded on an island for 10 years. His former disciples, now heroes, come to rescue him, setting off the story. The protagonist, who has a low self-esteem but is extremely powerful, is a trend in recent works, making this title a new and interesting addition. That concludes the lineup from Kagakawa Books. Next is the lineup of 12 books releasing on December 10th and the 14th. First up is the 3rd volume of The Ascendance of a Bookworm short story collections. This is a noteworthy title. The main story has already concluded, and the side story series has begun, but this time, the latest short story collections is being released. It includes bonus side stories from volumes 5 to 12 of the Goddess Incarnation arc, as well as web short stories. Collecting all these unpublished short stories individually can be quite challenging, so compiling them into a single volume is quite convenient. Additionally, regarding Ascendance of a Bookworm, the 4th season of the anime, produced by Wit Studio, has been confirmed and is set to air in 2026. While it's a bit disappointing that the broadcast isn't next year, the fact that it is being produced by Wit Studio makes me excited to see the quality. Next, we have Volume 1 of Fake Earth. This title has a rather unique cover for 12 books. It's set in a fully immersive VR world that perfectly replicates reality. The story revolves around a high-stakes battle royale game with a prize of 1 billion yen. It features a futuristic sci-fi setting where 2,000 geniuses with special talents engage in an intense battle of wits. The scale of the story seems quite grand, making it an intriguing lineup. Following this, we also have the releases on December 14. Titles include Volume 7 of The Villainess Who Aims to Be the Perfect Bad Girl by Rewinding Time, and Volume 6 of Undercover Reincarnation. Volume 5 of The Villainess Who Can Hear Hearts' Voices is once again troubled by puppy love. Following that, we have Volume 4 of I Thought It Was My Second Life, but it turns out to be my third. Volume 2 of How I, a high school graduate unemployed loner, earned a fortune in modern dungeon, and Volume 1 of Two Brothers Visiting Their Grandmother. This series is about two unfortunate brothers who, after their father's death and abandonment by their mother, is set out on a journey on their grandmother's place in a neighboring country. Despite tough circumstances, they use knowledge from their past life to enjoy a heartwarming travel story. And finally, we have the lineup from the releases from Saga Forest on December 13. Let's introduce the lineup all at once. First up is Volume 10 of The Reincarnator Young Lady Never Gives Up. Volume 3 of It's Impossible for a Former Agricultural University Girl to be a Villainess. Dungeon Seekers Modern Dungeon Quest Volume 3. The Worship of Asha Rivova, The Villainous Young Lady Volume 2. The Magician Known as the Death Princess and the Strongest Swordsman of the Frontier Volume 1. This fantasy war story where the protagonist, a queen exiled to a remote area after losing a power struggle, meets the strongest swordsman. This story, which includes buddy elements, is about saving the country. That concludes the lineup from Saga Forest. That wraps up our introduction to the mid-December light novel releases. Dengeki Bunko has particularly a luxurious lineup this time. If there's any series that caught your eye, please let me know in the comment section. I'll continue to introduce new works next week, so please take this opportunity to subscribe to the channel. Also, hitting the like button would greatly help in the creation of more videos, so please do so. See you next video. Until then.